Saitama. Now, for those of you who don't know, Saitama is the prefecture located to the north of Tokyo. And it's also a place that I have said some choice words about in the past. And in Saitama Prefecture, you'll find a lot of nothing. There is no happiness in Saitama Prefecture. But recently, a friend of mine, Tanner, and fellow Japan train tuber, brought me to Saitama to explore some weird stations in and around the prefecture. When I say brought, of course, I mean dragged against my will, kicking and screaming. But something interesting happened. I kind of liked it. Oh God, what's happening to me? Am I having a change of heart? No, surely it can't be. So I decided to go back for myself. And what is it that I do best apart from being forever alone? That's right, visiting underutilized train stations. So join me as we visit the least used train station in all of Saitama. Now, I live in Tokyo, which you might be surprised isn't Saitama. So we've got to get there first. So let's go ahead and get this trip started. So we are here at Hanal Station in the western part of the suburban parts of Saitama Prefecture. This train behind me is the one that's going to take me all the way out to Chichibu. It doesn't leave for another 15 minutes, which, coming from Tokyo and even in the more suburban parts of Tokyo, not used to these trains taking so long to leave. Apparently I missed one by 7 minutes. That would have gotten me there about, 30 minutes earlier, but definitely don't blame that on the fact that I was lazy this morning. I'll blame it on the fact that, someone pulled the emergency brake on the train that I was on, even though that definitely didn't cost me 7 minutes. But this train takes about an hour to get me all the way up to Chichibu, where we then need to make our connection to the Chichibu railway that will take us to the station we are going to today. I should also note that there is a limited express train that runs from here at Hanal all the way up to Chichibu. It takes less time. I don't know exactly how much off the top of my head, but it definitely takes a lot less time, but that's 500 more yen. And considering that I've spent way too much money this month, we're just gonna stick with the local train out to Chichibu instead. And we have made it to Chichibu Station. It took 50 minutes from Hanal Station to get all the way out here on this local train. So now I've got about a 40-minute break until the train I need to take leaves. So I'm going to go my lunch because the only thing I've had to eat since about 5:30 last night was a single onigiri. So I'm kind of hungry. And hopefully I don't miss this train, because if I do, I'm going to have to wait for like another hour and a half to make it so that I'm not stuck at the station we're going to go to for an hour and a half. That's a loud truck. Anyway, lunch has been consumed and we are on our way to Ohana Batake Station, where we're going to be picking up the Chichibu Railway and heading out to our station. The area around Chichibu Station is actually like an onsen, and there's a very large food court in there as well as like a regional goods store that if you want to see me wandering around that, go check out the collab video on Tanner's channel that we made a couple weeks ago. Go check that out. But got to go get this train that I think comes in about 5 minutes. So hopefully I won't miss it, and hopefully we'll be able to get to where we're going. We have arrived. Ohana Batake Station on the Chichibu Railway, and this will take us out to the west. The real fun thing about being this far out from Tokyo, I can't even really call this the Inaka because Chichibu is a fairly large city, but just being this far away from Tokyo is, people aren't used to seeing foreigners out here, especially, ones taking these more regional lines. So as I was walking into Ohanabatake here, there was a group of kids, maybe between 9 and 16, all boys, that were just eyeing me hard as I was walking past and kind of just stunned to see a white person out here. Tell you, I'm not used to being the center of attention like this. Stand out a lot more here than I do even in Tokyo, that's for sure. So welcome to the least used train station in all of Saitama Prefecture, Shiroku Station on the Chichibu Railway. With daily ridership of just 43 boarding passengers and about 45 getting off, this is the least used station in what is one of the most populated prefectures in all of Japan. I'm honestly surprised the station platform is this long, considering this train that stops here only has 2 little cars, but maybe at some point in the past there were more longer trains that stopped here, but not really. Look, it's me in the mirror. The bathrooms here also do look fairly modern. Obviously, I'm not going to go in them, especially not the women's bathroom, but I guess it's nice to see that they have them. And the waiting room here is pretty large. Again, a lot larger than I would have thought it would be, but it's kind of echoey, so we're not going to go record in here. So let's talk a bit about Shiroku Station. So the station itself opened in 1930, but the railway that it's on, the Chichibu Railway, opened back in 1899 as the Jobu Railway. And this station has been here kind of in the western part of the Chichibu metro area, if you want to call it that, since the 1930s. But the station itself didn't actually have Passmo integration until just 3 years ago, back in 2022. Now, I luckily can use my Passmo to pay here, but up until then, you would have needed tickets to come all the way out here. Yeah, it's abandoned, all right. Now, as I said earlier, this station only has 43 passengers a day that board at the station, and then about 45 a day that are getting off. Now, why would you use this station? Well, to the south of here, there is a temple that's part of the 34 pilgrimage temples. I think that's something like that. I'll put the name in Japanese down here, that exists in the Chichibu area. Now, technically, I think you're supposed to walk the pilgrimage, but, if for whatever reason you need to leave and go back to Chichibu, you can use Shiroku Station. Plus, there are still some houses in this area, and as I was taking the train here, there were a couple of school kids that were coming back from school, so they're likely getting off here as well. But this station definitely has the hallmarks of all the least used train stations that we've been to. It is near, but not at the end of the line. There's only one station further south of here, Mitsuneguchi, I believe is what it's called. And there's a very low number of trains. I think there's only about 17 each direction every single day. If I don't take the train that's coming in about 10 minutes, I have to wait here an hour and a half until the next train heading back towards Chichibu. Furthermore, and while apparently the station is unmanned, there's actually 2 workers that were here. I think there's actually supposed to be kind of a loanee system from Mitsuneguchi Station where they come and staff the station, but I can't guarantee that.
saying that the gentleman did come and make me pay for the ticket here so I could go back, but, you know, I'm not trying to get into any arguments in Japanese, especially because I can't win those arguments. Furthermore, there's not a whole lot around here. We are surrounded by nature and only the small villages that make up this southern part that I don't know the name of. There is, I think, a cement plant across the river here, and funnily enough, it's actually the Arakawa River, the same Arakawa River that flows through the east of Tokyo. And finally, we do have to talk about the bears. So originally, when Tanner and I were making the video for his channel where we were coming to some of the different stations in Saitama, it was part of his plan to come to this station. But I think a 2 or 3 week period back in May, there were 5 or 6 bear sightings within about a kilometer of this station. So he decided not to come here. And thankfully, I don't see any bears, but I did come prepared to sacrifice myself for the sake of YouTube content. Unfortunately, I don't think that'll be happening today, but yeah, there's some bears here. And while we're here, I think it's time I finally come clean. Why I've been negging on Saitama this whole time. So the first time I ever went into Saitama Prefecture was back at the end of summer last year, I think in August or September. And it was a day very much like today. And by that, I mean it was swelteringly hot. Temperatures over 100 degrees up in Saitama, which I feel like is always a little hotter than it is in Tokyo. I was going to the railway museum in Omiya, or at least north of Omiya, and I didn't know where the new shuttle was, so I decided to walk through Saitama instead, in the heat, in an area that wasn't the nicest to walk through. It was very industrial, and it was just kind of empty because no one was out and about because of how hot it was. Furthermore, because of the kind of negative reputation that Saitama had, I just decided to pile onto it. But I think this trip out here to Chichibu and filming with Tanner kind of opened my eye to it. Yeah, maybe the area around Saitama and Omiya Station isn't the prettiest, but, you know, the prefecture definitely has its nice parts. And being out here in nature like this, even if the sun goddess herself, Amaterasu, has cursed me with this nearly 100-degree weather, I like it. It's nice and peaceful, and you definitely can't get this in Tokyo, that's for sure. With that all being said, I think we found a pretty good ending point. So, if you like what you see, consider leaving a like or subscribing to my channel, or becoming a member if you're so inclined. And check out some of my other videos, like when I went to the 10 least used train stations in all of Tokyo. With that, from Shiroku Station in Chichibu, Saitama Prefecture, my name is Adam, and I think my heart might have just grown 3 sizes today. Take care, goodbye, and stay hydrated in this heat, because oh boy, it'll kill you. If the bears don't, that is.